Welcome everybody to Making Beaded Wire Rings, and we're doing this pre-recorded session for the sake of anyone who isn't able to make it on the date of our program on Saturday, February 6th. So my name is Anne-Marie Kolakowski and I'm a librarian with Pasadena Public Library, and I'm here with Kaitlyn Chiu. Kaitlyn is a high school senior, and she has been doing wonderful Zoom programs about jewelry making and calligraphy making. And today she's here to show us how to make beaded wire rings. We have a take and make that you all should have picked up from the library. It's got a little insert with basically the different ingredients that are in the bag. It's got two of these 18-inch pieces of silver wire, a rose type bead, a bead with a flower on it.
And if you guys are curious about making these at home and getting your own materials, you can get this stuff at Michael's or on Amazon. And we're working with 26 gauge wire, which describes how thick it is.
You'll also need a pair of strong, sturdy scissors. And that's pretty much it. And what you're going to get is a cute little ring that you have wrapped the wire around your beads and kind of wrap the wire around itself. So with that, I'm going to have Kaitlyn take it away, and Kaitlyn's going to show us how to do some of the different designs that we can do.
Hi, my name is Kaitlyn. I started making these rings at probably in the middle of summer. I got quite bored during quarantine and I pulled out all my old beads from when I got into jewelry making and bracelet making when I was probably in middle school and early elementary. I actually learned the basics of jewelry making from Miss Emery when I was, I think, 9 at the Pasadena Public Library, and I sort of got hooked, and now I like to do this and with the free time that I have. So today I'm going to show you how to make these wire rings. Here are a few that I have made. This one has a pretty fancy bead, and then I have 2 small seed beads, like the ones that are in your kit. And here is another one. And this sort of shows that you can sort of experiment with beads, color, shapes, and you have the basics and you can just keep going and use your creativity to make all sorts of things. So today I'm going to show you how to do the basics so that you can sort of take creative liberties and make your own so that it will match your outfit or your favorite color or anything that you'd like. So I'm going to show you, this is the beads that I'm going to use for my ring today. There's one design, big fancy center bead, and then 2 seed beads on the side. And I'm going to make it so that they sit like that in a ring. So I'm going to draw out the steps of this ring. So to start, we have our 18-inch that everybody has, and then we are going to take one end and make it into a ring shape, and we're going to go around a few times to get it to our certain thickness, just like Miss Emery is showing. And for this, we can use our own fingers to size it, and that will be really helpful. So whatever finger you want to wear the ring on, you're going to wrap that one. So after we wrap it, we're going to take, so this is the long end, this is the short end. We're going to wrap it, coil it tight so that that's the end, and we can have a full ring to go. And then the next step we're going to do is we're going to wrap it pretty loosely around, I don't know if you can see, but it's sort of like a vine wrapping around our ring. Then we're going to do a tight coil. We're going to leave room to put our bead. Here, I'll add some color. So this is where my blue bead is going to go. And then we're going to do one more tight coil to secure it. And then we're going to leave room for another bead. This one is going to be my big bead. So that's my flower bead. Then I'm going to tight coil and then leave room for the blue bead. And then to finish it off, we're going to do a couple more tight coils, loosely wrap it, and then end it at the very end. Tight coils. So, to get a better view, this is sort of the game plan that we're going to go with. So now we're going to take our metal wire and we're going to start with the very first step, which is making the ring shape. First step was wrapping it around my finger to make the ring shape. And then we're going to go 3 times around like that. And then push it all together so it's one. You're going to want to make sure it's not too tight. You want to be able to move it, wiggle it up over your knuckle, and you definitely don't want to cut off any circulation. So the important thing is to leave enough wire. We're going to do a lot of wrapping and it's important we have enough. So if you can see, my short end is quite short. It's probably like less than a centimeter. And then we're gonna go like this and make sure to keep pressing everything so they all stay together. And then we're gonna take our short end and we're gonna start coiling it to make it that. That's what we're going for. Oh, Miss Emery has a perfect example. Okay, so you can see I twisted it straight down and I'm gonna tightly bring it back up. I'm using my fingernails and my fingers to push it and make it as tight as possible. And go straight down, straight back up, twisting and coiling. And the goal is to keep your coils as close together as possible. You want them to be touching, like a spring, like the spring in your pen. If you squish it all together, you're gonna want them to touch. But since it's gonna be sliding on our finger, we're gonna want it to be as flush against the wire as possible and no pokey stuff to scratch. And so something that you can use is, if you have extra, you can clip it as closely as you can. And I found a trick where your scissors touch, not the cutting end, but this part, you can use it to pinch. And when you pinch it, so say your wire is like straight up, you pinch it like that and it'll go straight down. And if you twist your scissors, it'll wrap it around. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I pinch the leftover wire and I'm going to twist it. So now we basically have a ring, and then you can place some more and make sure that it fits. And if it doesn't fit, you can use your fingers and maybe get like under a fingernail and you can always unravel it. But hopefully it fits and it slides nicely. Next, looking at our picture, we're gonna do loosely wrapped all the way around, and then we're gonna get to our coil, and then we're gonna work with our beads. So we're gonna think of it like that. Here's our coil. We're gonna wrap to about here, coil, add beads, coil, and then finish off. So to coil it, or to do the loose wrap, you're gonna just do it just like we did with the tight coils, except these are gonna be much looser. So you're gonna Just go in and out and in and out. And you're gonna wrap it like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Mine are never equally spaced or anything like that. This is just partially designed, partially to keep all our wire together. So I did about 3, going in and out 3 times. And now, if we place it down, my beginning coil is here, and my wire is down here, ready for beads. So, to start preparing for our beads, we're going to coil it. We're going to do tight coils this time. And if you're working with a seed bead, we're going to have to take into consideration that our wire is going to be used. Wrapping, there's going to be more stuff that we need to do. So we're going to want to use it sparingly. So what I did was I did 2 tight coils. And if you can see, they're touching each other. And I bring it out again. And this time, now we're right here. We're at this step. I'm going to take 1 blue seed bead, whatever seed bead you have. And then we're going to bring it and sort of use our fingers to place it how you would like it to look. And I want to make it as tight as possible so they don't slide around. Then I'm going to go back in and do one coil. Just like that. And now, I guess if we really wanted to, you could end here. See, this is where it comes to your design. Say you want a ring. I just want a little blue one, the little bead. You could leave it just like that, and you would just coil it and then wrap it to end. But I would like to finish my design. I'm going for this. So I did one coil after I put my bead on, just to make it snug and fit. Then I'm going to take my statement bead, my big bead, or just the center one. And same sort of idea. We're going to bring it as close as possible, make it snug, and then we're going to go wrap around. And a key when you're wrapping is you think, my wire came out this way, so then I want it to go that way, and then it's going to go back inside. Just where you're like going in and out. After that big bead, I do 1 coil and bring it back in. So now it's tight. And what I'm going to do, this is to secure my big bead. So you might see it might twist or something. So this is what we were originally looking at. We did 1 coil, and then you're going to go this way, and you're going to go underneath your big bead, just like that. You can do it again. We start on this side, and then you're going to go underneath your big bead. So you go over that and under that. And that's going to secure your bead. Just like that. All right, and then most of you probably don't have this much wire, so we're going to keep it at that. Just 1 time around. And then we're going to coil 1 time more just to secure it. And then what we're going to do is, now I'm right here. I coiled, and now I'm ready for my blue bead. I'm going to take the bead, string it on your wire, and bring it all the way to your ring. You're going to sort of have to use your fingers and bend it to make it how you want it. And that looks pretty good to me. Ta-da! And then, so I push it as close so they're hopefully even, and then I'm going to start my end coil. And The key is when you're coiling next to your beads, you're going to want to make the coils as tight and as close to each other as possible. That's going to stop it from moving or from coming undone. And also when you end it, you're going to want to coil as tight and close as possible. So I have my blue bead and I'm pulling, using my fingers to keep the bead in place, and I'm pulling. All right, and then I'm going to coil 2 times because we coiled twice on the left side. Coil once, coil twice. Now we did those coils, and now we are on lightly wrapping. Our goal is to get back here and coil to finish it. So we're gonna wrap pretty loosely. So for this part, you don't have to worry about the wrapping touching. And keep moving. And about here, I'm gonna start coiling. And remember, 2 is the bare minimum to keep something secure. You probably wanna go for at least 3, but 2 is enough. So I'm gonna go for 3, because I want to make sure my ring is nice and secure. And then you pull that out. You're going to cut it as close as possible without cutting any. And then, oops. I don't know if you can see, but I have a little pokey stuff coming out. So I'm going to pinch it and then turn it. Pinch and turn. And tuck it in. And now I have a pretty ring, and then that's gonna go on my pointer finger. Ta-da!
That looks great, Kaitlyn. So do you want to show us really quick what the process is for making this one that doesn't have the seed beads on either side? It's pretty much the same, right?
Yes.
Similar?
It'll be actually much easier. This one is slightly more difficult than the one that Miss Anne-Marie showed you. So I'm going to be working with this yellow rose bead. And when you're choosing, these are from my own beads. And when you're choosing a bead for a ring, you're gonna want to think about how it's gonna sit on your finger. Say if I had a big ball, it would sit a little awkwardly on my finger, right? You could always, if that's what you like, then go ahead and do it. This is all about what the creator likes. So I like to stick with flatter shaped beads, and the circular beads are always a good sure shot.
Yeah, and for your kids, we tried to find as many beads like this as we could to be able to include for you, because you're right, Kaitlyn, like they to sit against your finger but sort of be like just on top of it, but not like super sticking out. The rose ones, this is how it looks. And I think it's also important to note that with doing a bead ring design, you want something where the holes are on either side and not like up and down, as opposed to like making something with earrings. Because when we were shopping for the beads, I found a lot of beads that would look really, really cool, but on your finger, it would look sideways, and that wouldn't really work.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start it the same way. Circle, 1, 2, 3. And if you remember, I started here, and I'm gonna coil it to keep everything together. And then I'm gonna take my ring, wrap it loosely. You can coil a few more times, make room for the bead, coil a few more times to keep it locked, and then loosely wrap, and then coil to finish it off. My yellow flower. That's what my ring is hopefully going to look like. Now you take your wire and we're going to wrap around our finger. You can use your thumb to hold it in place. Wrap 3 times. And then remember, don't cut off any circulation. You're going to want to be able to take it off and on and put it back on. So I'm just checking, is it going to fit over my knuckle? Yes, it does. And sometimes when you take it off your finger, you'll start pulling and it gets smaller and smaller. So just keep in mind, this is about how big I want it. Keep testing, making sure it'll go over your knuckle. Okay. From here, we are going to make that coil. And to make sure that we have enough wire to make the rest of the ring, you're going to want to make this coil pretty short. Use only a little bit of wire. So I'm using my fingers, wrapping up and down, using my nail to press it because sometimes the wire is sharp. So now you have your base, you have a ring. And I'm just going to check, make sure, because sometimes in the process I make it too small or make it too big. You finish that step, and now we're going to make the loose wrapping. And then we're going to go outside, around, and inside. Push it through and use your other hand to take it out. Three is sort of a good gauge to make it symmetrical and also not too tight, not too loose. I like to do 3. So now, if we look back at our sketch, I did the loose curl wrapping, and then now I'm going to do a coil to prepare for my yellow rose. I like to hold it so I know where I'm starting, and then I sort of pull it this way. I pinch it so it won't slide all the way to the end, but I pinch it so that I can get to the wire as close as possible. And when you wrap loosely, you're sort of thinking about going like diagonally, but when you're wrapping tight coils, you're going to think about going up and down. So when you look back to where our sketch is, you'll see that we finished the coil right here, and now we're ready for our bead. Bend and maneuver your wire to make it how you would like, and your wire is going to listen to whatever you do. And then, so after we got our bead on, we want to make sure it's tight and it's not going to go anywhere. So, step 1, after you put your bead on, you're going to wrap it once. If you can see, how I did that was, so I got my flower, and then keeping in mind what direction I'm going in. I'm going this way and back out. And I'm going to keep on doing that. So I got my flower, and I'm going to push my wire in, pull it through, and come back around. And that's 1. To keep, I remember if you noticed, we had to go under, right? To keep our bead from rocking. We're going to, you can hold your bead and you're going to wrap around the base. Underneath your flower, but over your ring shape. And then we're going to continue. Remember, we're still going to coil. So use my thumb, pull tightly, and then wrap once, twice. And now that step is complete. And now the next step is to lightly wrap until we reach the base, and we're going to coil to finish. To do that, we're going to, you can see how when I coiled, I was sort of bringing it straight. This, when we loose, you can bring it around and sort of wrap it like a vine around your ring. That's a little tight. If I mess up, I just unwrap it and keep going. I'm going to wrap tightly. Right, we're right here now. We're going to coil to finish. And now to end it, take your scissors. You're going to want to go as close as possible. Take end, find where it's poking out, and you're going to pinch it. And you're going to pinch and twist. You can run your fingers. If anything's pokey, just give it a good pinch and it should not be pokey anymore. And there you have your ring. And look, it matches my drawing pretty perfectly. That will match this one. And let's try it on. I made it to go around my ring finger.
That's so beautiful, Kaitlyn. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yay. Yeah, so here's mine. And that's how it sits, kind of. Very cute. So I hope that gives you all some great ideas for some different versions that you can do with the stuff from the kit. If you have any questions, my email address is, I'll put in the description below. And thank you again so much, Kaitlyn, for doing this with us. I love your arts and craft programs. They're awesome. And I hope all of you guys are staying safe and having fun making stuff. Take care.
Bye.